Our township tours have become very popular tourist offerings, giving visitors some great insight into the often misjudged parts of the city. I jumped onto a bicycle to tour Alexandra Township, which is a stone throw away from Sandton.
Early afternoon in Alexandra Township in northern Johannesburg, our presenter Nozipho ventures out for an unusual tourist experience.
We're coming to you from Alexandra Township today. This is, of course, the oldest township in South Africa. We're about to do a 2.5-hour bike ride, enjoying all the hotspots that this township has to offer, and of course, immersing ourselves in the vibrancy that South Africa's townships have on offer.
Muluzi Alexandra Tours was the idea of 23-year-old entrepreneur Jeffrey Muluzi. The concept came about by chance while he was in school.
I got lucky. I met a coach, two of my coaches, one named Scuba and the other one named Jofra Tariz. They actually coached me hockey, grass hockey. So every time they used to drop me in my house whenever we came from. I was the captain of the team, so every time after the game they would leave me in my house. So they said, Jeff, is it possible that we can just see the township? That was okay, and then I gave him the bike. We had two bikes, they were not in good condition though. We had to brake with our feet and everything. But everyone enjoyed the tour. After that, they actually called 14 of their friends to come and join the tour. After that, they actually paid and we hired a minibus taxi. With that money, I bought more bicycles and they helped me to register the business. It actually got successful from there.
On today's tour, the Latitude crew join him and a few foreign tourists for a not-your-average bike ride. First, some introductions.
My name is Nozipho. I'm a South African. I'm Zulu. I am not a biker. I think the last time I was on a bike, I was, 8, 9, 10. But I loved my BMX. So this is going to be fun, and I'm excited about this. I particularly want to, or my expectations would be to experience another side of tourism in South Africa. This is for tourism show where we showcase lots of very expensive 5-star hotels across the country, golf courses and all of that. And this is a different side of the story to show that the township is pumping and the township is also happening and tourism can happen right here.
One of the main concerns about being in a township is safety.
Many people think safety is a big. I think, to be honest with you, safety is not what you can guarantee all over the world, wherever you are. But the only thing is, people when they come to the tour, they are afraid to enter the township. So I just leave them like that. Before doing the tour, I just introduce myself and introduce everyone. And when I do the tour, I'll just tell them, to be honest, they're not going to be the tourists on the tour. They are going to be the part of the township. So to be part of the township, they have to actually engage with the community. So that actually will break the ice because then people will actually engage with the community and have fun. But that few minutes, then they're actually breaking the ice of being safe. And then after that, you will see them you will see after the tour, everyone is actually excited and enjoying themselves.
Before the group get onto the bikes, Jeff rouses them up with a local song and shows them the famous township greeting, all in a bid to make them feel more at home. Welcome's done, and it's off they go through the narrow township streets. The first stop, a tavern where the riders are treated to some traditional beer. Jeff takes them through the process of how it's made.
So this is, I just bought this one from the shop. This is alcohol-free. The Mkombochi is made out of these two, but they make it here, which is alcohol. This one is alcohol-free. So if anyone does not drink alcohol, they can taste this one. If you drink alcohol, you can taste that one as well. But the beer is actually made from these two by the queen. When she makes it, she will cook it. Everywhere in Africa, they make the same beer. Everywhere in Africa, they make the same beer. The beer is made of these two. You can go anywhere. It's the same ingredients as well. It's actually to represent our ancestors. Whenever we get together as a community, we always have to have the beer. If you don't have the beer, that means nothing will go well. We always have to have the beer because it represents the ancestors of ours. And then when you shake, you'll hear the seeds inside. Then you take a sack, you actually remove the nchela, and then take everything out, wash it. It becomes the calabash, which means calabash. It actually make everything cold. Everything you pour inside becomes cold now. So that's why we use it to share as a community, because we don't have chairs in South Africa and Africa. So we always we always drink and pass the beer around each other. That's how we unite. You can shake first. When ingredients come together, take a sip. Here's a go ahead. Is it okay?
Yeah, very good.
Interestingly, Jeff's initial target market was not international visitors.
My key target market at the moment are South Africans, but mostly now I actually have people from Netherlands, Germany and Sweden. They are one of my biggest clients so far. But I have people all over the world, to be honest with you. But firstly is to actually to introduce South Africans to this township, because most of the South Africans have a very negative thought when it comes to this township. But when we invite them, they can always invite their people who are visiting them from all over the world.
With the hydration part of the tour over, the group was back on their bikes. As with most tourists coming to South Africa, it's generally for the country's beautiful natural offerings. This tour is jarringly different.
That was what was missing actually. Most tourists come to South Africa for lodges, for example, lifestyle, the wildlife of South Africa, and the beautiful Sandton, for example, next to us. So I thought that was what was missing. People come from all over the world, but not seeing the other parts of South Africa. And I'll say not the other part is the poor part of South Africa, but the culture we have here is what was missing from the tours which are taken. People actually misjudge people in Johannesburg. They say, no, in Johannesburg you'll get marked. So I wanted to show that people, this is not a place where you'll get marked. You can come here, you can sit, you can drink and have fun without even getting yourself marked. So that's what I thought was missing, and I thought maybe people will actually like that, and definitely they're doing so.
Being on a bicycle is a fundamental part of this township tour, as the tourists have the opportunity to interact with the community. They're not merely spectators, they get to touch, hear and smell the township in what can only be described as a realistic experience. Halfway through the tour, the group is faced with a grueling uphill ride through the main road of Alexandra, which begged the question, why bicycles, Jeff?
Out of all modes of transport, I picked a bike because it was the easiest way to communicate and to cover distance. Because the whole purpose of my tour is to interact with the community. So in a car, we could not interact with the community. We could not talk with the community as much as we can. So the only way is either walking or taking a bicycle, and we wanted to cover as much distance as we can. So the bicycle was the solution to actually why I chose the bicycles to actually use them for my tours.
The next stop, the Women's Hostel. It's the remnants of the decision made by the apartheid government. After the Sharpeville massacre, they chose to separate young black men and women in Alexandra Township.
That's what the government did. They actually built a house and then separated men and women for birth control. This the hostel, it was actually introduced for that. So what happened is inside the hostel, men and women will be separated for birth control. Men will live one side and women will live one side. This hostel will have 3,000 families inside for only women. If you're a boy, once you reach the age of 17 years, you're born here. Once you get chased away.
Back through the narrow streets of Alex, as it's commonly known, the group experienced the lack of space in the township and have to push the bicycles through narrow alleys. The last major landmark on the tour is the little-known Mandela House.
We are in perhaps one of the most historical parts of Alexandra Township. It's known as the Nelson Mandela Yard. It is the world icon's first home away from home. When Nelson Mandela left the Eastern Cape, this church was the first place where he set up. A couple of weeks later, he moved into the house behind me at a cost of £1 per month, 50% of his £2 salary.
It's the original building that the former president occupied and hasn't been significantly modified in any way. Most people driving past would not even know that the site existed. That's how unassuming the house is. The unique nature of this tour guarantees that there are many return visitors. Alexandra Bicycle Tours manages to attract a fair amount of visitors.
In the tour a week, around 14. Sometimes we have like 22 or more a week. So we are getting much clients as we can. I mean, people are trying to like the tour as well. I'm not trying, they're liking the tour. So be honest with you, things are getting much better when it comes to this year and last year, November and December. Tourists are rolling in as much as they can. Well, I actually market myself on the Gauteng website. On my website, I have a website. I have brochures in 24 hotels around South Africa, around Johannesburg. That's basically how I market myself. YouTube, I market myself there. Facebook, Alexandra Bicycle Tours. That's how I actually market myself. And my website is www.alexandratours.co.za.
The main aim of Jeff's business is to uplift the community by changing the local and international perspective of the oldest South African township.
The perceptions about Alexandra as a township is very bad, because Alexandra, to be honest with you, in Johannesburg is not on the map. Many people see it as an ongoing area. If you rent a car, the only place they tell you not to go is Alexandra. If you actually from anywhere, the only place they tell you is not to go is to Alexandra. So I'm trying to actually rub that perceptions about the Alexandra. But as Johannesburg as a whole as well, it has that same perceptions. When you go around the world, if you tell someone that you're from Johannesburg, they'll tell you, when was the last time you had a gunshot? You know, it's like every time we hear a gunshot. But it's a different story when you come inside. So this is what I want people to know and people to understand, that Alexandra is as safe as you can go as well to any place, Sandton, and to like become, to just have fun. So it's actually the vibiest township you can ever find in Johannesburg as well.
So if you have a few hours to spare, why not take an eye-opening tour of the culturally rich Alexandra Township?